Welcome to the Renegade Wingman podcast, everybody. I'm really excited to have in here two very esteemed guests. We have Charlie from Cultivate Crypto, and we've got Miguel from Dollar Cost Crypto in the house today. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. What's up, G?
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, one, I've just been really excited to have you guys, and this is the first time I'm actually meeting you guys in person, but a little bit about myself and my background.
Right.
I've been a professional dating lifestyle coach for the last 10 years now, but also done some entrepreneurial ventures, done a lot of consulting. But one of the ventures that I've been involved in has been in the cryptocurrency space. So people have come to me for a lot of crypto advice because back in 2013, when it first piqued my interest, I started really diving into it. And then around 2015, I actually started actively investing in it. So got my first Bitcoin at somewhere around $3,000, which at the time I thought I was completely late to the game and that, I completely missed out on everything. And a couple of surprises later, we find ourselves here. But, you guys have been some pretty strong and powerful authorities in the space. And I would consider you guys subject matter experts in the field. And so you guys have actually put together a pretty fantastic and spectacular course that we'll talk about a little bit later. But I've actually been in that course for quite a few years now. Yeah. And so can definitely attest to the quality and the amount of information that's in there. But, for you guys, my first question is, what kind of brought you into the whole crypto space to begin with?
Well, I mean, depends how much degeneracy you want to get into, basically.
Oh, we didn't go full degenerate.
It was drugs.
But yeah, for you, it actually is.
Yeah, it was like drugs and alcohol have ruined my life. No.
What
do we got here? Yeah. But I guess it was just basically my buddies were always trying to smoke weed and stuff like that. I didn't really smoke, but they kept dragging me along with their dealers because they're afraid to to go in the middle of the night. So eventually I got kind of like pissed off. It's like, we got to find a better way. So basically what ended up happening is that we heard about the Silk Road and we tried to buy some, but what ended up happening is that nobody wanted to put their credit card down or anything to get some Bitcoin. So that's kind of like the first place I ever learned about Bitcoin. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I was so interested once I started reading about like Bitcoin and everything that I was like, dude, here, I'll give you $200. You're like, here, keep $100 of it and just let me keep the $100 of Bitcoin. This is really cool. But it just didn't pan out like that because nobody really wanted to put their card down because they thought the FBI was watching it. And if they were,
very highly possible,
highly possible, right? But after that, wasn't paying attention for it for a while. Just got kind of into stocks. And then one day, one of these stock YouTubers I was watching, which I think lives here in Vegas, actually, Jeremy from the Financial Education Channel, just kept shitting on crypto like nonstop until eventually I was like, what the hell is going on over there? Like I literally said that one day. I just stopped what I was doing working, went on my phone, and I was like, whoa, dude, since when? And I couldn't believe the price. I think Bitcoin was probably like $200 or some change. So this may have been like, I can't pinpoint it exactly, but maybe like really late, like maybe like mid-August, something like that. It had been early in 2016. And then from there, I just kept kind of not, kind of like lollygagging about not doing it. And then eventually I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. And I got in December. So bought Bitcoin at $400. I think I bought a little bit of Ethereum at, I think it was like $2. Yeah, $2 Ethereum. And Litecoin was like at, what was it, 25 cents?
Okay. Yeah.
You bought it all.
Yeah, all the Litecoin.
Yeah, I still remember when it was like, what was it, when gas fees hit like 25 cents, everyone freaked out. It was like,
yeah,
oh my
right.
Lord. Yeah. Space has come a long way, but yeah.
Well, like, I guess there's a couple of ways that I could kind of go into it here, which is like, when did I first hear of Bitcoin? And then when did I first get into crypto? Because the first thing that I actually bought was Ethereum, which is interesting. So like, I was living in Tokyo when the first time I heard Bitcoin. That was maybe like around the end of 2012. It was like, must have been just a couple $100 at the time because it was going up to its all-time high about a year later at 1,000. But at the time I was looking at the Japanese stock market. One of my students, when I was an English teacher there, was teaching me about the Japanese stock market a little bit. And I was like, okay, I can dabble. And then I saw Bitcoin in the headline of a newspaper. And I'm like, seems kind of expensive. So, nah, I'm good. Right. And then I forgot about it for like years. Turns out my dad and my brother had bought the top in 2013 at $1,000.
Chads.
You always have to buy the top at some point in your career.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, you always do. Yeah.
And so like they didn't tell me about it at all for like 4 years. And then in 2017 it started coming back, right? And my brother had just not paid attention to crypto at all, right? My dad started paying attention like the whole time because he's been doing investments for years. And so when he saw Bitcoin was down, he was like, well, it's just an opportunity, right? And so he had a totally different mindset, whereas my brother just forgot about it. So around February of 2017, Ethereum was about $30. My dad secretly bought some under $10, right? And then he was like, sent an email to the entire family, buy it at $30, something like that, right? I was like, I didn't know how, so I waited until I got back home in May. And then I was like, okay, tell me how to buy some Ethereum and how much should I buy? I was just like, okay, put in $1,000 at $90 Ethereum. Went up. I thought it was the same thing as you, man. I thought it was the top. I thought like, no way, I'm just going to lose money here. Right. 2 months later, I checked back in on it. I'm like, holy shit. This thing's $400 a coin from $90. Now you said my 1,000 has turned into 4,000. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then like I got obsessed from that point on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I actually got into Ethereum at pretty much the exact same point as you. I was buying around $80-$90. So, yeah. So
very nice prices.
Very, very nice. Yeah. Which, you know, it's again, very interesting, right? Because I think people have like a lot of misconceptions around like different projects in the space, right?
Right.
They think you throw money in, price go up, everyone buys Lambos and, you know, gets all the watches that they want.
Yeah. They don't realize that it takes a long time, not only to finally understand that, this is a market that we need to play in, but then also like really go for it. Because, you know, if I would have just left that $1,000 in the market, you know, would have been nice, you know, turn into 10,000 or something. But then like a few months later that year, I got a nice bonus from my sales job. I was just like, I think I can make it all back next year. So I'm okay if I lose it all.
Right.
And then I just basically dumped it all into the market. And like
as you should.
Like, August or September of 2017. And then bro, the rest of that year was so fucking awesome. Like it was amazing. It was the best ride ever. And then like, you know, bear market comes around and I'm just like, man, like this is the shit. Like I was never interested or excited about finance ever until crypto.
Yeah. Same. And then like, you know, after the 2017 hit, that's when I just really started getting into the weeds. So then I discovered this little project called Chainlink and I was like, it's like 40 something cents. Like, I should pick a bunch of that stuff up. And then, you know, again, finding out a bunch of different YouTubers and really trying to figure out, like, for me, the biggest shock in the crypto space is that probably the biggest resource library for crypto, would you say, is like Twitter? Like, or X as it's called now?
It was.
Okay.
So that's now I would say, what do you think? YouTube and Twitter, like 50-50? Because like Twitter still has a lot of good alpha on it.
Yeah. It's more, I would say like you get more of the breakdown of the community and like how strong it is and stuff on YouTube, but you get some really like unknown gems you're gonna find on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, because the guys that are gonna be YouTubing, they're probably not gonna be saying like word for word all the stuff they're saying on Twitter, of course.
And it's kind of interesting now because like before the last cycle, we didn't really have crypto YouTube. Like we had a little bit, but not like it wasn't a huge thing. Now we have a lot on crypto YouTube. Like you have so many different channels that they have to niche out, and that niching out gives like really good alpha. But like, or just, you know, there's a lot of researchers basically, and then you can aggregate that, right? But like Twitter back in the day, and this still is true on YouTube, but not quite as bad. The thing I saw on crypto Twitter that was not that great though is essentially you get a lot of people kind of trading against each other. Right. So they're trying to like put a narrative out there to get you to bite and then reel you in and then, you know, dump. But that was more like the 2017 ICO shit. But like I saw that, I was like, damn, like that's kind of fucked up. So like, you know, our channels, we've made sure not to do that. Like, hey, here's just our honest opinion. You just take the exact opposite route of what everybody else is doing. Like, because it's not a scarcity world. I mean, Bitcoin is scarce, but like the abundance of crypto and money on the internet, like really there's a lot of opportunity there. So I don't think people really need to, I mean, there is the player versus player mindset, but it's like now it's retail against Wall Street. Like that's the real, you know, battle there.
Okay, so now you guys have two very different styles and like kind of very different approaches to this, which kind of makes, you know, you're pairing sort of like the dream team, right? So, you know, the question I postulate to you guys is, you know, how did you, as you were navigating, figure out, all right, I'm going to be more of the on-chain analysis expert. I'm going to know everything about the community's project functionality, as well as any potential degeneracy that's going on out there in the space. How did you guys sort of navigate that as you were figuring out like what your particular grooves and expertise were going to be?
I guess it did take a couple of years to really figure it out.
Yeah.
But after a while, you eventually find out where you kind of lean towards, basically. So I always lean into a lot of I've always said I've got a YouTube PhD in research.
YouTube University, right?
Yep. So obviously I've done, especially during bull market. So I would say I guess it's a little more Twitter heavy now. And then what ends up happening as a bull market starts getting really hot, it starts leaning towards YouTube, basically, just because everyone's trying to YouTube and basically everyone starts competing for information. So you start actually getting that everyone's scraping Twitter, that eventually if you watch like 5 or 6 of the YouTubers in a specific branch, that you end up getting like almost all the data, basically. And then from there, so obviously I focus on the social side and stuff. Yep. So I was always really good at getting into communities and stuff. So I ended up joining the Litecoin community, became Litecoin Moses.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, to my detriment sometimes. But found out about this crypto gang warfare that goes along and stuff, man. You can't be wearing Raiders outfit to a 49ers game. It's dangerous sort of thing. But that's kind of so I eventually learned kind of the dynamics between these cryptos, that they're all basically a fusion of a religion with a sports team. Okay. Is the best way to really explain it.
That's a really good way.
Yeah. And it's really like that. It actually is, because this is why I'm so passionate about crypto, because never in your life, let's just say a sports team you wins, right? What do you get out of it? Nothing. Right. Maybe if you're lucky, you have a way to bet on it. You have a bookie, or you use MGM bets or something. All right. But if you don't have a sports book or anything like that, and there's really basically a lot of times whatever you like in your hobby doesn't make you money. And this hobby is money.
This hobby is better than your goddamn job.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of myself, right? I think it's partially your learning style as well, because I like data a lot. So I want to prove something out, right? And so I'm okay, I need to know all the data so I can look at it and be okay, I see a pattern within that. But then also I'm more of a visual learner than necessarily an auditory learner. So I really got into crypto Twitter a lot. I love reading all that stuff and figuring it out and all that. So that's where I started. But then, yeah, like he said, at some point you start gravitating towards kind of what you like the most. And so I started it was weird. I didn't know my full style would basically be kind of okay, I'll take a little bit of that, take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so it was interesting. I don't know if you've ever read any of the Market Wizards books.
I have not, but
I really, really recommend those. If you listen to 2 or 3 of them, because they all have different eras. So it'll be late 80s, 90s, more recently, the 2000s. They're all kind of interesting, but in there, they show profiles of different traders and different people. I found 2 that did the exact same thing as what I did, which was Elliott Waves, cycles, and then just the rest of the other parts were regular charting and stuff like that. But the people that I find who are technical analysts, and me and Miguel were talking about this the other day, we're okay, what for the people who are fundamental analysis people, what's kind of the weak point? And then for technical analysis, what's the weak point? Why can't these people ever fucking communicate? Right. And the reason why we can communicate is because for me, I do a lot of fundamental analysis as well, but not to the depth that Miguel will do, right? I'll go in, I'll pinpoint something, but not so much over the time. I'll rather look at the charts. But there's a lot of technical analysts who purely look at charts only.
Yeah.
And they don't take any of the fundamentals into account. And so it's wait a minute here. Bitcoin is based on the algorithm of its blockchain. That is a fundamental truth that can be shared on data with the technical people. And it also can be something that can be understood on a fundamental level too. So that's where the intersection of those 2 comes in, is with the on-chain data. But I don't think right now in crypto, those 2, tribes or whatever don't yet realize it. And they look at the third tribe, which is on-chain data, and they're you're my enemy.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're going to come up and start competing with us. So I think it's kind of interesting how people look at markets differently. But if you read that book or a couple of those books, basically you can kind of see okay, maybe I have this style here and a little bit of that style there, but they do tell you as well, like, okay, here's the limitations of technical analysis. Here's limitations of news, because I mean, CNBC, right? They put out news that's always good journalistic integrity, right?
Yes. Not fake news at all. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so from your guys' perspectives, right, having, you know, as they say, right, you spend a month in crypto, that's like, you know, a year in any other market. So I don't know, we've all like 100 years in crypto experience, right? But where have you guys, what's your take on currently where the space is kind of evolving towards? Is it more evolving towards a consolidation, more retail stabilized accessibility point, or is there still like a bit of that wild west and frontier that's being pushed and developed as we see that you know, it getting more prevalence in the common?
Kind of will depend on like what year you want to look forward to in the next few years, because you're going to have both, right? The thing that's going to probably be the biggest trend though is Wall Street and governments joining in the party, which, you know, a lot of people don't want them to join the party, right? But they're going to, whether we like it or not. So you're always going to have this grassroots part of crypto, this DeFi space, this actual decentralization, the power to the people can actually control their money. You're going to have that faction, which is going to have a lot more power than ever before. It already does, which they don't like. But now with BlackRock and these different people coming into crypto,
Bitcoin ETFs coming out soon, and
they've already been like, okay, we can find a useful use case for this market, take it to a 30, 50 or $100 trillion market cap overall. We're all going to make a fucking shit ton of money during that time. And like, they'll have tokenized securities, central bank digital currencies, stuff that, you know, to be honest, I'm not looking all that forward to, but that's the kind of like the 2030, 2032 end route. And then in between there, I think every once in a while towards the top of a bull market, when retail finally like is like, oh yeah, Wall Street's not our friend, I got to remember that, right? Then they're like, oh shit, I got to protect my freedom. And then development on the actual DeFi infrastructure happens. Because if you remember in 2021, people in Ethereum, people in different parts of crypto, or sorry, I would say more like 2019, sorry. In that year, 2019, 2020, they were kind of like biding their time a little bit. I don't think anybody thought that Tesla would come into the space, or, you know, BlackRock would be coming into the space. But at the time we had Harvard, Yale, Stanford, all these companies or colleges, institutions, everybody looking at the space, but that was mostly a rumor, right? But it was starting to get confirmed. And I think a lot of people, they were like, oh, Wall Street's our friend, that's going to bring money into the market. But once they realized it wasn't, then we started getting all the DeFi stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's I mean, 2021, that was definitely a very fun and exciting year. And well, you know, thanks to paying attention to you guys, there was this little fringe project called Hex that I learned a little bit about. I was like, oh, there could be something to this. So did quite fairly well on that. And it's exciting to see what they're doing kind of with the Pulse chain and all of that. So, which of course people are seemingly impatient, right? Because it's like they want it all now.
No, I can, no way.
So, you know, what advice do you give people to help them kind of cut through the noise when they're looking in the space? Because there is a lot of noise out there.
Right.
It's mostly like we put them, I mean, obviously when we're in the course, we put them through the ringer in terms of like, this is a really messed up breakdown. What I do, I did it in the past a lot. It's like, I would just take a bunch of, I would take a coin and then I would look at its top YouTubers and like, I show people how to find them. And then I would break down their personalities and what are they leaning towards and stuff. So like I would eventually just go, this guy sucks. This guy sucks here. Yeah. This guy's here. Oh, this is informational. Good. This clickbait, pretty decent. And then from there, I would try to explain like how they explain things basically. And then like, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to like, how are they trying to push your emotions towards something? Right. As well as pitfalls. And then a lot of times, since if I do know a lot about that coin, I could just tell you right away, like, oh no, he's grifting on you, but good grift, man, my God. But dangerous, right? And that's one of the things we do is just like I'll teach them sort of like what's the voice or what's like the pace of the market. But kind of even going to your earlier question of like where this whole thing is heading towards, it just all depends if it looks like the VR stuff is going to take off at some point. Yep. So it's going to be all I hate saying the metaverse, but like basically the metaverse basically. And there's gonna be crypto coins involved in there as well as like the central bank digital currencies, and you're gonna be living probably more and more time on VR. I would imagine. if Apple's working on it, and it's probably going to be pretty serious. I would have to say.
So now taking a step back from the crypto space and talking more about the broader entrepreneurial space and various entrepreneurial endeavors, what's been your biggest challenges that you face on the entrepreneurial side of the equation? And then what's been like, one good success that you guys have had on that front?
Yeah, the really interesting thing about being an entrepreneur in crypto is the market cycle.
Right.
Because it's so fucking extreme. Like,
no, what?
Yeah, no, right.
Extreme ups and
No
downs.
way.
What are you telling me?
Right. And so like you have to be prepared to weather the storm both sides, right?
Yeah.
So like, for example, like we have Coinbase, right, which often has terrible support, right? They don't have good customer support at all. Why do you think that is? Right? Because basically they're getting overwhelmed with customers every 4 years. They have like a 2-year span where they're just like flooded with customers, but then they also have a 2-year span where they don't.
Yeah.
Right. And so CZ, the guy who runs Binance, the head of Binance, he, I think, has the best balance on everything, which is don't overspend. Like Coinbase had like Super Bowl ads and all this stuff, right? Binance didn't, right? They're like, don't overspend, focus on hiring good people, expanding the base in the bear market, build. So like, it's all about kind of understanding where that peak is coming in, that you're going to have a flood of customers. It's going to be hard to take care of everybody, but you want to do your best effort for customer service, and you can prepare for that when you know the storm is coming. So it's kind of like you have to look at least 2 years in advance and be preparing everything you're doing today is for this time next year. And, so if you look at it that way and if you're basically slacking right now, what are you going to do? You better pick up the speed.
Right. Gotcha. Ape it in all known capital.
All into Pepe.
All into Pepe and stuff. But I'd say, that's being cyclical is very, very difficult. I mean, actually, this is a really funny story. I say this on the courses and stuff, so sneak peek. But I kind of give a time lapse of what happened. Well, like Ethereum was almost killed at one point. Like pretty much, like EOS was the biggest ICO that ever happened ever. I think it was $5.6 billion something in Ethereum. It was a very large. It was the largest ICO ever, even until now. It happened in 2017. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Yes, it happened through 2017, and it ended in early 2018. And they collected like billions and billions and billions of dollars in Ethereum, and they pretty much just market sold it all off as time went on into a Bitcoin to lower the price down, and it severely hurt the ecosystem and stuff. So the cash management of like companies, even in crypto back then, was very bad because they were holding all Ethereum, all crypto coins,
right?
And they basically, a lot of them kind of, because most companies in the stock market now, like even now, like more and more of these companies are essentially just buying back their own stock. So a big part of their balance sheet is their own stock. So you get a mass. I mean, this is what I'm saying. The stock market is not very. They're not ready for the onslaught of prices going down, because if stocks really were to crash, oh my god, oh my god, and the amount of loans that are going down with stock is insane. But that's kind of what's going on, is that these companies pretty much were all holding Ethereum, and then when crypto normally goes down 90%. Like I know right now Ethereum might be going down like 80% and some change, maybe even 70%, but the average altcoin's down 91% right now. Some of us are lucky at 96%. But that's kind of what's going on with companies now. After all that stuff happened, they kind of learned to hold stable coins, kind of hold a little cash flow together, and this helped the best companies kind of weather the storm. But this is kind of what's going on right now with the overall market. This is the reason we haven't had so many like this cycle. Most people thought like, oh, all the L1s, for people who even know what I'm saying, is like other types of Ethereums or other types of like coins, they held their bank management a lot better, and a lot of projects survived, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I think Chainlink even as well, right?
Yeah.
Like
they thrive.
They were like, it was interesting because like you said, like in the early part of the bull market, amazing returns, amazing memes as well with Chainlink.
Oh, amazing. Phenomenal.
Chainlink God, right?
Exactly. But like about halfway through the bull market, I think a lot of the people in the organization were like, okay, we made enough money on the coin. They basically, because they have so much, they can't take profit all at once without ruining the chart and the coin. So they're just kind of slowly bringing it in. And, there's still gains to be made, but like it stopped outpacing Bitcoin, Ethereum. But that was the difference between 2017 ICOs that basically went bankrupt, and companies that were smart and like, okay, I'm gonna take some profits earlier.
Okay, so I've got 2 final questions. First one is, there's an Infinity Gauntlet, and you've got the 6 stones that you're going to place for the Infinity Gauntlet of crypto. What 6 projects go in there?
Oh shit!
Oh damn, dude.
That's a good question. I like that.
I mean, it would have to be Pepe, Shiba, Doge.
All memes.
All memes. Well, obviously it's Bitcoin, Ethereum. Oh, this is where I get shot here. I'll probably like put the Pulse Chain ecosystem as one of them. My God,
That could be the Hearthstone.
yeah. That's a good one. Holy shit. But yeah, so I'll put the Hearthstone as one of them. Probably Cardano, Solana, and the Solana one hurts me though. That's a bit brutal. And then the other one would probably be, it's almost like I want to put a sector down because it's so early of a GameFi.
Yeah.
It's just tough.
Yeah.
It's just right now there's no outstanding winner. There's really good projects, but they haven't popped off yet. So but that's how I'd rank it.
And like Bitcoin, Ethereum, like those are the ones that control the market. Those are the true Infinity Gauntlet, right? So at least that. Then I would say Pulse Chain ecosystem as well. The Richard Hart tokens, basically right there on number 3. The other 3, I would go for more sectors than necessarily specific coins, because like I get Solana, for example, right? It's going to be an infrastructure coin for centralized organizations. Like Visa is really liking Solana and stuff like that. So you're going to get that kind of expansion, but that's more like because it's just a top cap coin.
Right.
But in terms of like industries that are going to do really well in crypto, like Metaverse GameFi, 110%. That's one that everybody is like, it's not so good, right? That they have to pay attention to. NFTs would be another one that I would say everybody has to pay attention to. And then the last one, you can kind of take your pick. You could go with Wall Street derivative coins. You could go with like exchange type tokens, not in terms of like decentral or what do you call it, centralized exchanges, but more with like NFT type exchanges or DeFi type exchanges.
Like
ThorSwap's been doing well. GMX has been doing well. Looks Rare has been doing well. So something along those lines. But the other one on the last one too, another sector is like interoperability. So having the coins be able to interact with each other. ThorSwap is doing that in a DeFi way. But we also have Cosmos and Polkadot doing that. So it's going to be a really interesting mix.
And a little chain link.
A little sprinkle.
Chain link.
Yeah, but I think the crypto is becoming, as it goes towards what Wall Street will have it become, which is like tokenized securities, which crypto will be tokenized commodities, basically, right? And so then once we get to that level, I think sectors in crypto are definitely going to be how people break it down, because there's just going to be too much.
There'll be a real estate sector in 10 years.
Correct. And that might be through NFTs.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of up in the air. It's either NFTs or it's going to be coins. I'm leaning towards NFTs. As it is right now. I got a question for you.
Yes, far away.
So I heard you have a program. What kind of program is it?
I do. So I do have a program where I'm putting together a men's community. So it's basically focused on guys that are kind of thinking of it like a basic training camp, right? So it's guys that are just starting to actualize or starting to get in the space. I'm a member of other different communities like Rich Cooper's 10%. I'm an admin in that community. Nice. But that's looking for people that are a little bit more done a couple of tours. And then in the 1% community as well, where you got, more of like special ops or you're like SEAL Team 6. So this is going to be focused a lot more on, again, guys that are just trying to figure out kind of their footing or just get started.
Gotcha.
So it's something I'm very excited about. But you guys have a course, which, I mean, I have a crypto course that only focuses on like the very bare essentials, right? Like what exactly is it? What are wallets, this, that, or the other.
Right.
But you guys have a very, very in-depth, comprehensive course.
Boot camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell Week. SEALs training. Really Ranger School.
I mean he's experienced it before, right? So over the course of 2 weeks, right, starting from September 22nd, we're doing the next crypto mindset course. Basically, we're covering the end of Q3 and then helping everybody go into Q4 to prepare for all the price fluctuations in the market that way. And so we started on September 22nd. We do actually this time we're doing 22 webinars, 5 pre-recorded. which, you know, will cover the basics, that kind of thing. And then 17 live,
yeah.
2 of which we're letting the audience or the people in the course vote on it. We have a short list of a few candidates, maybe 6 different potential webinars based on what people in the community have been asking us so far. And so then we're going to solidify 2, do those for the group. And then also we have an
Industry
NFT course coming out after that.
Right.
So yeah, we're busy, but it's a boot camp. And like, I was kind of curious, like your experience in there, like it's pretty intense, like, but you already had some crypto experience, and like, so kind of how did you find like getting into the course for the first time? Was it like a little, you know, disorienting, or how was it?
No, I think you guys did a fantastic job of making sure that, one, it was appealing to people that already had experience, but also 2, people that knew absolutely nothing and just walked in and said, "What is a crypto?" Right? About this
But
thing
you
called,
have plenty of those.
Couple grandmas too.
about this thing called Dogecoin. Like, you know, that's a great buy, right? So, you know, the way that you guys structured and tailored it was to make sure that, right, everyone was accommodated and be able to bring them up sort of through the ranks. And one of the things that I will say too, I commend you guys on your effort, is that, you know, you guys put a lot of work in the Q&A sessions, because they were always scheduled for like an hour. And then 4 hours later, guys barely have eyes open and everything, because you haven't slept like, you know, an entire week, but they're still answering like every question. Right. So, yeah, I found that was a fantastic resource. So I got a lot out of it personally.
Nice.
And yeah, I've used a lot of the information in it for, you know, my own personal strategies, but also with helping out other people that I've consulted with.
Yeah, well, and that's what we like to see, man. Like, I know you do your own content, you building up a good community, which we like to see, but then also like paying it forward, right?
100%, yeah.
Because nobody got to this space, you know, by themselves. Everybody learned from somebody.
So where can the good folks find you? Where are your links?
You could follow me at Dollar Cost Crypto on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else. I mean, basically, yeah, it's all Dollar Cost Crypto. I had a question for you.
Yeah.
I mean, how do people get into your products and stuff? I mean, how do
you can just check me out on all my socials. So Renegade Wingman on Instagram, my renegadewingman.com, my website, as well as my YouTube and Twitter. So
nice. Yeah, we're all the same.
We're all the same.
Cultivate crypto for me as well. Just across the board. That's all you need to know.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been fantastic having you on. I want to say thank you again so much for being here.
Problem,
yeah, no, it's good conversation. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.